everyone, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Team, and this is the award-winning Fan Show. Thank you. You're too kind, really, you're too kind. And everyone is a fan of something, and we have got something for every fan, especially for you fans of Robot Fightin' Time. And I'm sorry that my Farouk isn't more on par with, well, Farouk, but there is no substitute for greatness, and Farouk does it the best, hands down, no doubt about it, but it is. We are on the eve of the pre-party for Battlebots, if that makes any sense. Let me just go ahead and break this thing down for you. So we have the season premiere. That's right, season 4 of Battlebots, the second one on the Discovery and Science Channel. We have that happening Friday night on the Discovery Channel. Season premiere, brand new episodes, brand new fight cards, brand new mayhem. But wait, there's more. Thursday, tomorrow, one more sleep. Thursday the 6th, we get a one-of-a-kind live BattleBots fight card. That's right, it is going to be live streamed. Here are the details. Try to keep up if you will. It is BattleBots Challenge on Amazon RE Mars. So Amazon is putting on this event called RE Mars, and BattleBots is a part of it. It's the BattleBots Challenge. Live on Twitch, twitch.tv/BattleBots, June 6th at 8:45 p.m. Pacific time. And there are 10 all-star BattleBots. They will fight it out in this preseason head-to-head matchup, all streamed live Thursday, just 24 hours before the season premiere of BattleBots on Discovery. So follow Twitch. Make sure that you are on the BattleBots train, because it is leaving the station a day before it was supposed to head out. Tomorrow, live from Las Vegas, fight capital of the world, we get Robot Fightin' Time. I am still beside myself. I cannot believe that we get to witness history. Not only do we get a brand new season of BattleBots that starts Friday, but we get this first ever live stream, live fight. 10 bots, 5 awesome matchups happening from Las Vegas on Twitch. So if you Twitch, or if you don't, this is the best time to Twitch, if that's even what you call it. I don't know, because I don't Twitch, but I'm about to, because we hit live BattleBots tomorrow at 8:45 Pacific, which will be 11:45 Eastern time for those of you on the East Coast listening to the Fan Show right now. This is a Robotics Division special, and I have a very special guest coming up for you in just a few moments. He is the man, he is the voice in the ear of pretty much the entire operation. He's the man in the control room, the man behind the curtain. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Well, we're about to, because it's Peter Abrahamson. He's one of the coolest dudes in the world of combat robotics. And we had a stellar conversation, near 30 minutes long, talking about the new season, the taping, which I was there for a portion of it, what makes this next season so special, what we can expect, and then, of course, this first ever live Twitch stream BattleBots Challenge happening in Las Vegas. We get all the way into it. So, one more time, let's run it down for you. Tomorrow, Thursday, June the 6th at 11:45 Eastern, 8:45 Pacific, live on Twitch, you will see 10 bots in 5 matchups, and the fight card is as follows. Free Shipping versus Bronco, Bite Force versus Ice Wave, Scorpios versus Chomp, Lockjaw versus Whiplash, and Witch Doctor versus tombstone. I mean, if that doesn't get your robot fighting senses tingling, I don't know what will. There's no help for you. How are you a Battlebots fan if that card, knowing that you're going to see it live, doesn't get you absolutely pumped for what's about to happen Friday, June the 7th? Because then, 24 hours later, Friday, June the 7th, on the Discovery Channel will be the Season 4 premiere of Battlebots. So, robot fans, all you engineers and gearheads alike, get ready, count it down, because robot fighting time is just one sleep away. 2, if you're just going to save it all for Friday's season premiere. But one more sleep, and we will see robot action inside the battle box. And yes, the usual suspects will be there. Tomorrow night, Kenny and Chris will take up the commentary mics, and the master of ceremonies himself, Farouk, will be there to make the most glorious of introductions. So with that, without any more delay or further ado, let's get you even more hyped than you already are with my conversation. The man in the box, in the control room, behind the curtain, Peter Abrahamson. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me now is one of the minds behind the beautiful madness that is robot fighting time. Of course, we're speaking of Battlebots premieres this Friday night. It is Peter Abrahamson. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. And yourself?
I am excited. This is my favorite time of year, of course. May and June are my busiest times of year, and this year and last year, June is like I catch my second wind because BattleBots is finally back on TV on the Discovery and Science Channel. So it's a whole new core of content and everything that I get to get back into the swing of things. And, of course, we've got a new season and the whole shebang, but there is also kind of a new thing happening in Vegas this week as well. But how do you feel going into the home stretch? It's finally here. The commercials and promos have been released, and now we're finally going to have the start of a whole new season back on the Discovery Channel.
Well, I'm actually very excited about the season. Some of the fights that I saw, I spend most of my time during the fights in the control room and watching them on the screen. There were some of the best fights I've seen ever. Like, there was some amazing stuff that happened this season. I can't wait for it to air.
Yeah, and for me, I was there for what was the postseason tapings, and I got to say, those fights were incredibly impressive. We had a few huge upsets. We had some matches that went the distance, some controversial judges' decisions. I mean, you had everything that you want from a great fight and a great final stretch of the season, but we also had like what you described as like a 1 in a trillion happening, which we will see very late in the season. But it was very exciting stuff, and obviously if you weren't truly excited about it, I don't know how you would talk about how excited for it you are. Because this kind of excitement's hard to manifest, you know? Yeah,
what really seemed to have happened this season for me, what I noticed is, like, you know, every season, builders bring their A game. This time, it was beyond A. It was beyond double A. It was so unbelievable at the level that people were competing at this year. Just the quality of robot, the professionalism of fights. Like, I mean, these guys and girls and ladies, they were amazing this year. I was so stunned at how much they got together and just produced one of the better shows for us.
Do you feel, because I was talking with Greg, and he said, you know, we had, I think, the number was double the applicants compared to last season, and then, of course, you guys had even more teams this year as a whole than you did the previous season. So onward and upward, the product keeps growing and thriving. But do you feel that you've officially established yourself as your own sort of world now, your own universe, so to speak, if we were to use cinematic universe as a term? BattleBots is now its own universe where it's got a solid fan base, it has a home, and you guys are just going to keep going as best you can year after year.
I certainly hope so. The builders. What is really important about the show for the builders is that the more recognition they get, the more that toys are out there and T-shirts are out there and things for people to recognize the builders, the better chance that they have of getting more sponsors. And the more sponsors they have and the higher the sponsorship level, the better the robot can be because they can put more money at it, right? They can take more time. They get to be able to sort of say, yeah, you know what? I'm now making enough money from my sponsorship that I can take 3 months off from my normal day job and just work on robots. And that's when you get amazing robots out of this, is when people can put in that extra amount of time because they're not worried about, oh, my God, I've got to do my day job and then run home and then spend another 4 to 6 hours every night working on the robot. And having shows of this level that we're producing gets sponsors so excited, gets companies that have never sort of been involved in this going, I want to be a part of that. I want to sponsor a robot. Or when a robot person calls and says, we're really interested in what you make as a product, and we would love it if you'd be interested in sponsoring. They go, Battlebots, of course, I love Battlebots. I didn't know what to do with these. I can even do a thing. I so want to do this. And so that's the part that gets me the most excited, is being able to see it's a slow transition, but hopefully seeing more of rather than just a pro-am level, but a full pro level where these builders could be being their day job becomes building robots. That to me is the ultimate goal, is what I'd like to see for them. And they're getting there with the quality that we made of this show this year. I think we are so close to that turning over.
And I think, I saw that firsthand while I was down there, that it seemed like, the beehive that is the pit was humming ever so loudly. And there were people that were excited and running around, and everybody gets along, for the most part. And there's friendly rivalries. But, as you mentioned, the show continues to make leaps and bounds on a production standpoint, on a quality standpoint. But you also haven't lost your identity, because you have the stories like Sarah, Nellie the Ellibot, that was able to put together, I think, a GoFundMe to go and live her dream of competing with Battlebots, which I think is amazing.
Which was phenomenal. I was so happy to have her, and that was so exciting to see her be able to show up with her robot. She'd never built a robot of this scale. She's just been this big fan of robot fighting. And here she comes and does it and really steps into it, just full on into the middle of it. And it was just amazing. That was so cool to be able to make that sort of dream come true for her, to be able to have her be able to finish her bot and get her bot there and get it in the arena and be able to compete. That was just, I love those stories. Those are some of my favorites to watch happen.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm excited to see the rest of everything that plays out as far as from the experienced veterans, previous champions. Will we crown a new champion this year? And it's all, anything is possible once, it's robot fighting time and that battle box is locked and loaded and ready for action. But for you're in the control room. You're the voice in some of the ears. What is it like for a day in the life of Peter during the taping of Battlebots?
So usually my day begins at about 6 a.m. on set, where I take the good thing about showing up early, I'm a morning person anyways, but I show up early, I sort of get my stuff in gear, I can walk through pits, and usually not a lot of the builders are even there. Most of them, maybe just a handful, 1 or 2 teams show up that early. Most of them come in a little later than that. I like to go walk around. I get a sense of where all the robots are. I know all these people. I've known them for years. All of us are pretty good friends, so I have a good rapport with them, and I can have a good in-depth conversation of where the robot really is and what state it is, what state they are in, personally, versus where they feel the robot's at. And I try to sort of condense that into something that I have a morning meeting at around 9 a.m. with Chris and Kenny. And we talk about all the fights that are coming up for that day so that I can sort of give the fill-in of this is where this robot is, and here's where this person is feeling, and this is what they think they can do. And, they had a really rough fight with Robot X yesterday, and it's been a lot of repair through the night, and they're worried that it may not make it through, another fight, or they're holding together with duct tape. And I relay that to Chris and Kenny. And so that they're sort of more filled in. So every time those fights come up, they've got sort of a backlog of data that they can sort of pull from, so that they sort of have a good sense of what is going on with that specific robot that is in the arena at that point in time. And one of the great things that's been happening in these past 2 seasons is Chris, right after our meeting, he goes into the pits and walks the pits and talks to the builders that are fighting that day, so that he gets a much more intimate sense for himself of what's happening with them. And he looks to me to fill in the technical details, and he looks to himself, when his conversations with them, to fill in the emotional detail of the fight. So that when he's talking about, the joy that it is for Sarah to be there, about, oh my God, I'm so excited. I got Ray just walked by and said hi. He gets to relay that and talk about that. And then I can tell him what was going on technically with the robot, and he can relay that too. And Kenny usually does the more technical aspects.
And
that's...
I got to add real quick that for Chris and Kenny to do that is really, I think, what has separated seasons past from newer ones, is just their involvement and going above and beyond like that.
Completely is what makes the difference. I mean, because there used to be, I fed a lot more stuff from the control room to Mike Burke, who is their producer, who is in their head. During the fights, I would be saying things, or we would usually have a bunch of notes that we took right before a fight, a couple of points I would have discussed right before everybody goes in. I usually ask them their strategy. I run out to the waiting line before, when they're getting ready to go into the arena. I say, what's your strategy? What are your plans? What are you thinking about doing in this moment when you get in there with Robot X? And, it's changed from what it was a half hour ago, or even, how 10 minutes ago that they may have been interviewed with camera. They may have a different thing when they stand next to that other robot. And so they're like, well, I was just noticing that he put this wedge on, and I'm going to have to deal with that. So I'm going to approach from the behind. They may have a very convoluted plan, or they may have, what do? I spin. That's what I do. I'm just going to go in and hit things. And so I'll relay all those things to Mike Burke, who talks to Chris and Kenny. And then in the heat of the moment, when something crazy happens in the arena, and nobody, they all look at me, the whole control room goes, Peter, what happened? What was that? What did we do with it? I'll be like, okay, well, see how the smoke is white? Well, that's a lithium battery fire. That's obviously his batteries are probably catching. It looks like he still has his speed control going on, so he's still able to drive. He just doesn't have the power he can source. So you can see he's still crawling, but he hasn't died yet, and some of that will eventually get through, and you'll hear it come out of Chris and Kenny's mouths,
You're the rules expert. When I watch football during the broadcast, they have the commentary team, the play-by-play,
right,
and the color, and then they've recently started including more people that are their specialists that have held a position like a former referee or a head of officiating, and he's there to break down, when they go to the booth for an instant replay and a challenge, what the outcome might be based on what he saw through the lens and everything. And so you're that guy in the BattleBot world. You are there to break it down for them, to let them know what's going on.
I'm pretty good with if I were to be betting, I'm pretty good with usually having a sense of which robot might win in any given fight. But the thing is, though, what I totally understand is those doors close, and that box is just a giant box of evil. Everything that happens in that box, chaos just thrives in that space. There is not enough variables and math for us as humans to be able to compute just what really goes on.
Yep.
The fact that Tantrum's fist got hit by Tombstone last year and lodged itself in the protective pole that holds the wiring. Like, you know, you couldn't have written that. Like, that wasn't something you could have made a script for, saying, oh, this is what we want to have happen. It's like, it happens in a way that you just go, wow, because the chaos in that space. And I have to always hedge my bets based on that. Just going, well, but weird stuff's going to happen in the arena, and we never know. Yeah.
So this week, we've got the premiere, obviously, but we also have something special that got added, an event happening in Vegas. Now, you're going to have to talk me through this because I've been running around like crazy, and I keep seeing it pop up, and I haven't had a chance to look at the details, but you'll also have to let me know if this is related to the rumors that I heard during the taping about Vegas's future role with Battlebots. If this is that, or if this is one step, possibly many.
What this is Battlebots was approached by what's called RE-Mars or RE-Mars. It is Jeff Bezos' what's the best way to describe it? It's his AI robotics conference. It's kind of like a TED Talk in a way. It's sort of like a 3 days of speakers that are very, you know, respected within their field, discussing AI and robotics. And not just together, but, you know, sometimes the robots might be more mechanical discussion. The AI may be fully software-based. The AI might be how an AI works within a car, those kind of things. So there'll be multiple sessions and talks on all these different subjects. We, as Battlebots, are the entertainment for the big night of the party. We are the gladiators entering the arena for them to witness a giant craziness during a party for this event for the VIPs.
Wow!
So we're gonna do 5 fights, and then we're gonna take a break. Well, we won't take a break. We'll go back to the pits and continue on. So all of this will be streamed live on Twitch. There is the 5 fights, a break where then a band is playing at another part where the Las Vegas Speedway, I think it is the location. And the band will play where bots are getting their robots charged up and getting their batteries ready and pulling out a second robot if they have to, tweaks and everything, and then getting back and ready to go in for a second half after the band finishes. And then we do 5 more fights after that.
Wow.
And it's a full live event. You know, these fights the first 5 have been released out to the internets, I believe. They're up there on Reddit and Facebook and everything. And then the fights after that will be taken from sort of how everybody did and what I believe Twitch and the audience feels who should fight after that. We'll have a quick vote and then team up the 2 bots to fight each other.
Now, as far as the event itself, since it's live, will there be all the usual suspects there as far as production-wise? Will Farouk do introductions and Kenny and Chris be on commentary?
So the amazing part is they were able to get Farouk, Chris, and Kenny.
Nice.
So it'll be different. It won't be the same. It won't be Farouk standing in the middle of the arena because we only have an hour to do 5 fights. Mm-hmm. So we have to do it very quick. Our load in and load out is super fast. So he will be outside the arena. He will do a quick announcement, and boom, we will fight. And then pull those robots out and put those robots in. And Chris and Kenny will have a spot next to the arena, not in the same exact spot as we did before. We don't have any judges. We will, if there does require a judge's decision, I believe it is going to the audience. We can double-check with Greg, but that's what I believe. The live audience that is there.
Okay.
They will sort of thumbs up, thumbs down kind of thing. There is no tigers that are going to be released, so the trapdoors will stay closed within the arena. But hey, you know, at some point I'm hoping somebody's going to look at the camera and say, "Are you not entertained?"
I would love to see that. That sounds incredibly interesting. Definitely a first time for Battlebots, is at least what my memory recalls. But robot fights in the fight capital of the world live.
Right.
Are we looking at possibly the future of Battlebots?
That would be really cool. I mean, this, we've discussed that this would be a great path, is that what we would be able to do is eventually get a permanency in a place like Vegas, because that would probably be the right place to do it, and be able to do a series of fights every night as a show. Like you went to go see the Blue Man Group, or you went to go see Cirque du Soleil, you would go see Battlebots for that night. That's the ultimate hope. It would be great because it means the box can stay up permanently.
Yep.
And then what you could then have is, okay, we've been doing this, but this 1 week will be a championship. And we will bring in, all the main robots will come in and fight with a box that we don't have to move, because that's a very expensive part of all of this operation. Is putting that box up and taking it back down is not a cheap thing. So that's a big chunk of budget. And if you could have it stay in one place and have pits permanently set up, and you don't have to rent the location is already there. There's all these great pluses to that.
Wow.
And then we can be able to have, like I said, that's the ultimate goal. It would be a great way to do it, because it's really tough to do the television schedule the way we do it. It takes a lot of money to be able to do a show like this. And if we were to be able to have a permanent facility, that would take a massive load off that, and it'd be much easier to shoot a show.
And, of course, who wouldn't want to go and fight in Vegas? I mean, you're talking about the international participants you already get, times that by probably 100 as far as interested parties, just to come and say, I fought in Vegas. But it sounds
we did way back in the day, like some of our early Comedy Central days. We did. I remember being out there at the Sports Complex, I think is what it was. It was at the west end of the Strip, and we, right near the airport, and we fought out there. And I remember it freezing cold at night because our pits were tense, and blazing hot in the day, and pretty crazy.
So it sounds like you guys have already given this some significant amount of thought, because you have already adopted the fight card format, which we will see again for this season, which I think works great. But so you're not talking about seasons anymore. If you were to have a home in Vegas, it would be like UFC, where they have their fights, but then once a month they have their big event and there's a title on the line.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how we would do that, like if that's the process, or if we would, the normal show would be a fairly repeatable show, because you couldn't sort of exist in Vegas and do this nightly show with Tombstone every night.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Like, it's just no robots are going to survive. It would be pretty crazy. So it would have to be sort of a pre-thought out way of how do we make survivable show robots, and then be able to also do championship with heavier duty robots, kind of thing.
Well, it certainly sounds like something that is, another glass ceiling broken, another innovation and way to go about the world of fighting robots. And I am extremely curious now to see how this would all play out. So I will be edge of my seat all season, and of course watching this weekend as we have the fight in Vegas, the live stream on Twitch, and then we have the season premiere on the Discovery Channel. So looks like the best
Friday
days
night
ahead of you guys.
It's crazy that we're doing the party on Thursday night and doing the Twitch live broadcast, and then Friday night is the world premiere of this season. I mean, it's like, wow.
Wow.
None of the fights that are happening live will, are influencing any way the season, because you obviously know the season's already been filmed.
Yep.
We shot it. It's in the can. So the winner is already done. These are just sort of wonderful exhibition matches, but nobody's going to pull any punches. They're all going to fight like they've always fought. I mean, these are heavy-duty competitors.
Yep.
And so they're going to put on the best show they can put on. And it'll be a great way to sort of, I think, to tease in the opening of the season, is to have this live event.
Oh yeah.
And then boom, we're into the real championship after that. So.
Well,
and the fight card, you were talking earlier about the fight card format. Everybody, all the builders feel they love that.
Yeah.
It gives them all more fights. Everybody usually gets 3 to 4 fights at least, whereas before, like single elimination, if you just had a bad connector and your battery popped off, like you were done, right?
Which
you were like,
those never happen.
That happens all the time. But you would just be done, and it was sort of everything you planned for and worked for is just over in one shot, and it's hard to do that. Like, it's just rough on the builders to have that kind of process. And now with the fight card, everybody at least gets 4 fights, and they can really, work their asses off and make a bunch of great fights. They may not make it into the 16, but there still was, they had this chance that was a little more, not as luck-based as a single elimination could be. Because like I said, even Ray could have had a simple connector that broke in the middle of the thing, and boom, he dies. Like, it's not okay. That's not how we want to fight.
No, it's unfortunate, and you want the best quality fights you can put out there each and every week, which I think this season has some of the best quality fights. And I know that I can only speak from the short time that I was there, but it was certainly, some of the best stuff that I've seen, some first time ever things that I've witnessed, and my assistant who came down with me, Matt, he's an engineer, by day trade, and he was thoroughly impressed and very excited to see how this all plays out on the Discovery Channel, now that he's actually been there and witnessed it. So as if I wasn't excited enough already, I'm even more now after talking with you.
Good. Yeah, that's true. Witnessing it live, like being there and then seeing it on TV, and like after you've sort of already witnessed it live, it's like, wow, that's right. I forgot how because sometimes it happens so fast when you watch it live that you're like, what just went on? And then you get to see the replay and Chris and Kenny talking about the replay and what's really happening in that moment. And you're like, oh my God, it was balancing up on its end before it fell over and then landed just right. And, it's what makes combat great. Chaos.
Well, I cannot wait for the chaos, and that will happen this weekend. We have a party Thursday, and then there's the Vegas event live on Twitch, and then we have our season premiere for Discovery Channel and Battlebots, and that is June the 7th, and that is Friday. So make sure that you check your local listings, or you DVR, or you set an alarm, like whatever people do in 2019, because I know that check your local listings is kind of a past tense thing, or maybe a lost art.
The days of getting your TV dinner and putting on the TV tray and watching MASH at 8 o'clock at night doesn't really exist anymore. It's like everybody's DVR turns on, or they've cut the cord completely and they're watching it on their laptops, or yeah.
Well, Peter, this has certainly been a treat. I'm, like I said, thoroughly excited for the new season, and it was great to spend some time with you down at the tapings and pick your brain a little bit and hear what goes on in Peter's world, which is a very complex, very fun, very emotional world that is Battlebots from your end in the control room. But hey, I'm sure we will talk again later this season, but enjoy all the festivities you have this week. I certainly wish I could be there, be part of everything, but go all out, have fun, and we'll talk to you later on this season.
We'll put on the best show we can possibly put on. Yeah, and call me anytime during the season if you want to talk more. If you need clarification of what the hell was going on, hopefully I have a point of view.
You're the first guy I'm going to text now, and that's great.
Okay,
so.
Perfect.
All right, well, thank you so very much. He is
Take care,
Peter
Richard.
Abrahamson of Battlebots.
And
one more big thank you to Battlebots man behind the curtain, Peter Abrahamson. Don't forget, tomorrow night at 11:45 Eastern, 8:45 Pacific, is the Battlebots Challenge live on Twitch TV. So make sure that you have downloaded the Twitch TV app. There are 10 bots, 5 awesome fights on this live fight card, and we have all the usual suspects, including Chris and Kenny on commentary and the Master of Ceremonies Farouk with the introductions. And then Friday, it is officially robot fighting time, as we will have the season 4 premiere of Battlebots on the Discovery Channel. So check your listings, set your DVRs, make sure you've downloaded the apps and you've got some reminders, because this season, I promise you, as someone who witnessed part of it, probably the most important part of it, will not disappoint. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and remember, of course, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night, folks.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.